Body shot. Ooh, that hurt, didn't it?
When the adrenaline starts pumping and you know what you can do with this right hand, it's hard to not do that.
Here are your hosts, Derrick G and AJ.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. UFC 277 has reached its conclusion, and I think reality has been restored. It's almost like we're in the multiverse, almost like it's Marvel a little bit, and Thanos just snapped his fingers, and next thing you know, boom, Amanda Nunes, the double champ. She's back in action, bantamweight champion, two-time GOAT, two-time double champ. You know what time it is. History has been made once again, but I do think it's a fair and important point to take away that Julianna Peña, the Venezuelan vixen, she kind of had her Rocky moment. Like, legitimately, like, if you watch the movie Rocky and you compare it to what Pena versus Nunes 2 was, I mean, Julianna Peña, did she fight a good fight? Yes, it was formidable. She gave the champ a good run for her money, I suppose, even though she got dominated 50-45, 44-43 on the scorecards. But it was like the valiant effort and the indomitable will to not give up, not wilt, not fold when you get rocked a million times. It was literally the Rocky story. So I do think that regardless that Julianna Peña no longer has gold around her waist, she's no longer a champion, she'll be forever enamored in the history books as that Rocky, historic, motivational type character. And I really want to focus on that today, even though we have a lot of other great things to talk about, like assassin baby Brandon Moreno touching the liver of Kai Car-France, putting him down and reclaiming some gold. Yes, it's interim gold, but it's gold nonetheless. We're setting up Moreno Figgy number 4. It's going to be pretty amazing. But folks, let me bring in my co-host, the New Mexico native, the Santa Fe bomber himself, AJ. Am I on point with this Rocky story? Are you feeling where I'm coming from here? Did we just witness a movie right now? What happened?
100%, Derek. I'm with you, brother. The fact that she's able to take an ass whooping like Amanda Nunes was handing out to Julianna Peña, and Peña was still willing to throw up submission after submission after submission, relentless attack from the bottom, where most people, when that stuff's going down, you're eating elbows left and right, you kind of just throw the arms up and cover up. Julianna Peña showed she's an absolute savage in there. No matter how many cards are stacked against her, she's willing to play that deck and get down, man. You're right, Derek. I agree. The Rocky story is right there, man, and I think Julianna Peña earned a bunch of fans. Sure, she didn't, actually get the whole full movie ending that Rocky would have. She didn't actually get the dub, but she did earn a dub, like as far as like as what the hardcore see, man. She earned a lot of respect out here, and it was a very tough fought. Maybe not as tough as the first fight that Nunes was thinking, but still a very tough fight for the second one that they had, man. It was a great fight overall. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, the other thing to take away is, Rocky number 1, I don't think Rocky won the fight. I think that, like, the whole entire point is that he went the distance with the champ on short notice. Like, it was this dude, the scrub, and it's like, oh, man, you didn't get knocked out by the champ. And, like, this is kind of, let's be honest here, AJ. Is this not what everybody thought was going to happen in the original Peña-Nunes fight? Like, Nunes is going to come in, she's going to mop the floor with her boom, and then Peña, what did she do? She surprises some people. Yeah, she got mopped up still, but she surprised the people with the valiant effort. But the other takeaway here, before, this is just kind of like the big picture off the top of the head before we really dive deep into it, is that, what did you think about Brandon Moreno, man? Not the performance. After the performance, when Figgy steps in, when the UFC finally allows a title challenger versus title holder to come together and, like, confront each other after a win. Because UFC hasn't done that in a while. It's been more like Bellator and stuff like that. But Figgy comes in. We're thinking he's going to play heel. We're thinking he's going to be like, fuck you, da-da-da-da-da. And Brandon Moreno says, hey, man, my daughter's watching me at home on TV. I'm not going to, like, throw shit in your face right now, man. I just got to remember to be that good example. And, like, he was in all trademark assassin baby Lego collector, Funko Pop collector fashion, the nice guy, man, with good morals and ethics. And I thought that was huge. However, Uncle Chael, he was all like, well, if you want to ensure that you're not headlining a card, that's how you do it right there. So watch out, boys. Stay tuned for those co-mains. What do you think, bro?
Oh, man. I mean, it's hard to disagree with Uncle Chael. Actually, I was talking about it with my girl whenever we were watching the fights, and I was like, it's nice to see, the nice guy moment, even Figueiredo coming in and not, like, playing the heel. It was good to see, man. There's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of respect that goes on inside that cage. But Uncle Chael's right, man. You want to sell some tickets? That's not the way to do it. You want to keep getting put on. Yeah, it's sometimes it is, as much as we say this, man, it is the entertainment business. and people like to see the other kind of entertainment, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I do think it's a good example for the youth, good youths. And listen, I mean, even for some adults, man, everybody wants gore and blood and violence and all that good stuff. But you got to remember, we want this to become a sport, not just like a blood sport. You know what I'm saying? So either way, this was a fun fight. Derrick Lewis stoppage over Sergei Pavlovich. Derrick Lewis gets stopped. A lot of people are saying it's early. And it's funny because I was watching the fights with my girl, man, and it's just funny because like moments before the fight happened, she was like, you know what, I want an autograph from Dan Miragliotta, and then Dan Miragliotta stops the fight early, and then everyone's like, this is the worst ref ever, he's terrible, da 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 da. And I was like, do you still want an autograph from that guy? That's your boy, huh? Look when you look at them, like, so that's your boy, huh? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, listen, man, we got lots to talk about, and we're gonna get into all of that. I don't want to go too big picture, but let's just jump straight into it. But before we do that, of course, folks, drop a like, subscribe, all the fun stuff, man. Get us up to 420 subscribers here on YouTube. And what's more important is parlay that into some of the other platforms that we're on. We're on TikTok at Bloody Water Podcast. We're on Instagram at Bloody Water Podcast. And on Twitter at Bloody Water Pod. And AJ, you linked up on everything. Santa Fe Bomber, Streamline, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, the whole nine. Tap, Napper, Snap on Twitch for me. We'll have all the links below. Graphics popping up in the whole nine. You know what we do here. But once again, I do want to just like relay the importance. Subscribe to the show. Share the show with your friends. You know what time it is. All right, AJ, let's get back into the prop recap, money line recap. And my man, we said it was going to be a wash. We said it was going to be a wash on the day, regardless of what happened. And we were right. 4-1, man. For some UFC or for some Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks, not bad at all. 4-1. Our parlay got ruined by the early stoppage of Derrick Lewis. However, it looked like Pavlovich probably was going to win that one either way. Now, AJ, I was kind of giving you a little bit of flack last week saying, 0-5, what happened, brother? But here I come back with the 0-5, man. So it looks like I got some explaining to do. So let me explain myself a little bit. Listen, man. You look at the Pena Nunes fight, and I picked TKO on that. Nunes dropped Pena 5 times, damn near, right? She had her out in deep waters, bloody waters, multiple times. Like, TKO was like there for the pickings. But what does Nunes say after the fight? Oh, I could have finished her anytime. I just wanted to prove a point, which is kind of badass on one hand. On the other hand, it's like, goddamn, well, I wish you would have finished her, so we could at least got one on the board. You know what I'm saying? Aside from that, my man, Brandon Moreno getting the TKO over Kai Car-France. I don't think anybody expected that one. I think if anything, it was going to be the other way around, because the odds for that were plus 650. So look at that. Listen, man, we hit more or less when we're talking about Derrick Lewis, Sergei Pavlovich, TKO. We just picked the wrong person, right? So we picked TKO, but Pavlovich got the TKO. Pantoja with a submission. AJ, you hit on that one pretty fresh, brother. And I'm gonna be honest with you, my man. Him steamrolling Perez like that in the first round, this is another one where I just did not see that one coming, man. And then lastly, the Ankalaev points that we all know and deserve that we probably should have gotten, we were robbed of because of an apparent injury. But I mean, hey, TKO win for the dub. So my explanation is that sometimes you got to risk it to get the biscuit. And it's like the methodologies was more or less on point. But some of these fights where we're like, there's no way it can go to a finish, man. We just saw some miraculous stuff. Talk to me, my man. You hit on that Pantoja sub. What made you so confident? I was trying to think back to the preview show when you were talking about it. What made you so confident about that Pantoja submission?
It was just so damn juicy, Derick, at plus 600. Honestly, I think I don't have my notes up right now from the pre-show, but I'm pretty sure I was thinking points. I'm pretty positive I was thinking points early, but then when we laid out that prop bet, I saw a plus 600. Saw, like, in my mind, Perez has been out for a couple years. Pantoja's been on this tear, and the backpack that he puts on everybody seemed to me to be kind of the way we were going to go for this fight. And in fact, when it all did go down, man, I was shouting pretty loud because I remembered, I was like, oh shit, I did say the plus 600 points right there, or the plus 600 for the submission. Very lucrative, a little ballsy of a bet. Obviously on a plus 600 bet, it's a little bit of a risk taking right there, but I was happy to see it, man. It was and just on a neck crank too, quite a way to go out for Perez, excuse me.
Yeah, quite a way to go out. And I will say, man, those are two very ballsy picks between the Pantoja and the Moreno. Now, we didn't hit on the Moreno, but Moreno TKO plus 650, Pantoja submission plus 600. And to hit on both of those, imagine those in a parlay. Oh my God, you would have made stupid cash. But when we're looking at the money lines, once again, we hit more or less on there. Now, there was competition to be had, and you did win the intangibles, I guess I should say, the external factors, right? 2-3 on the prop bet, so you got the job done on the Nunes decision, and you got the job done on the Pantoja submission, and then over-unders, man, you were really hitting 4-1 on the over-and-unders for you, man. I went 2-3, so not too hot of a scene for me, but I do think the key takeaway is that regardless if some of us are doing hot, if one of us is doing hot on the other ends, or on, one of us isn't, That's not a good look, but the good look is on the money line on the Bloody Water podcast consensus picks. We went 4-1, almost had 100% success rate on this main card, and that's the takeaway that we want you guys to take away. The prop bets are for the ballsy folks. The prop bets are for the people who really want to make the money. The money lines is the safe assured picks. Here you go, hand it to you, take it to your sports book, cash it in. What are the lessons learned from this week, AJ, in terms of the wagering sphere?
Wagering this one, man, I think the biggest thing that I kind of took away, when you have heavyweights going at it, it's really a big gamble right there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a real hard one to call, because we all had the TKO, like you said, though, it's just on the opposite side of the coin, you know, opposite side of how the fists are landing that night. Other than that, man, I mean, I'm just happy with myself to see those over and unders really coming through. I've been working, trying to get, you know, a little bit better at predicting exactly what's happening. And like I said, sometimes it's just hard. Like sometimes you can't really get it, but it's nice to stay consistent and see the progress going. 4-1 on the over and unders. Prop bets, like Derrick said, these are for the ballsy ones. These are the ones. But if you did hit on those prop bets, man, you're making some serious cash. What I like to see is how almost both of us had the first time, or not the first time, but the 5-0, which for a consensus lock, like we were telling you on the pre-show, the consensus lock for the show, we already had you down. I mean, 90, what would that be, like 90-some%, whatever the case is. You know, this isn't a math podcast, but either way, man, hitting 4 or 5 is always good money right there. Safe bets on those prop bets, man. What you think?
100%. No, I'm absolutely with you. And the biggest lesson that I have to take away is that sometimes, man, when you have two really skilled people and you think that nobody could finish each other, that's not the case. Somebody can. I mean, listen, man, these are the highest level cats, Brandon Moreno, the finish over Kai France, that really opened my eyes right there, because all that happened was just they left you should have put your arm right here next to your rib, you moved it an inch over and you got kicked in your liver, and it was just game over from there, man. So gotta risk it to get the biscuit, gotta be a little more ballsy next time to get the dub. But one last time to pop it up on the screen, folks. 4-1 on the day for the Bloody Water podcast consensus picks, 93-51 a pop for both of us, so it's more or less 0-0, but that's neither here nor there. We're about to jump right into these main card, you know what I mean, analysis, the breakdown and all that good stuff. We're gonna talk about the championship bouts. But I did want to know, if you want a little more insight to like the parlays that we like to throw around that maybe we don't mention here on this show, because this is a very thought out, analytical, professional show. Once again, man, I'm going to plug it once again. Follow us on Twitch, Santa Fe Bomber for my guy AJ. Follow me at Tap Napper Snap on Twitch. And that way you can get, like, I hit on maybe 2 or 3 different parlays between prelims and main card that I was just kind of eyeing out when we were actually watching it live. I was like, oh, let me place a couple things. What do you guys think? And then we went through it. So that's where you find some of the in-depth stuff. AJ, my man, I know you weren't streaming this weekend because life happens, but you're going to be back here for the next couple of weeks. Am I right? Talk to the people.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. Going on forward, man, we're gonna really try to do maybe a couple squad stream, or we'll link up exactly how it's gonna get down. But going forward, man, we really are gonna try to stream every single, like basically like a fight companion. How the Rogan does a fight companion. Any card we're gonna be watching now, man. Streaming it on Twitch, like Derrick said. Tap Napper Snap for him. Santa Fe Bomber for me. We're gonna be streaming the fights. Our live reaction. We'll have the clock up, so you folks at home that are also watching, or like Derrick said, you want a little insight. You want to, that last second, like, oh, check this out, these are the odds, get them in before the book closes. Those are the times to really get the actual, like, big ticket money right there too, man. Those last second odds that are coming up, locking them in, let the money swing the way it should, and it gets you a lot of cash, man. And that's the best way to see it, is that insight is on Twitch. Go follow us, make sure you subscribe, do the whole thing. You already know.
That's right. You already know what time it is, folks. So like I said, enough of the plugs. You know where to find us, you know where to get the real information, the juicy information on top of the professional information. Now let's jump into this main card. Let's get it.
Have you seen that replay, buddy? Your head was bouncing around like a pinball machine.
Time for some main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derrick G and AJ. So like I said, it's almost like Thanos snapped his fingers and reality has been restored. The double champ, the 2-time double champ, history making. Nobody's ever done it in the UFC to be a 2-time double champ. Amanda Nunes, in all honesty, the way that she was riding the shoulders of her teammates exiting the arena when she says, hey, right now, if you're a real fan, you're going to come bring me a beer right now. I want a beer when I'm walking out of the cage, right? To see her do that, I was like, and even the commentators were saying it, it's almost like you'd be okay with her walking away from the sport right now because of how much she's accomplished, because of what she's done. But it almost, at the same time, felt like this night wasn't even about Amanda Nunes. Even though she won, she restored reality. Julianna Peña, man, was kind of the star of the show, AJ. So let's talk about that before we talk about how dominant of a performance Nunes had, because that was crazy. 50-44, 50-43, 50-45, right? Julianna Peña, from here on out, stock has risen, right? Popularity has increased. I think that now she's going to be considered way more formidable than she ever was prior to the Amanda Nunes kind of rivalry right there. Where did Julianna Peña go in her career in the bantamweight division, man? Does she stick around at 135? Does she drop down to 125? Where are we going here?
Man, I think either way, wherever she decides to go, stay at 35, drop down to 25. Either way, I think she's going to be heralded as one of the bad girls in the division. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's going to be a force to reckon with, and not many. I mean, besides Shevchenko, let's say Amanda Nunes does walk off into the sunset, which if she does, I mean, one of the best times to do it. You're in control of your own future. But other than that, I mean, other than the bullet, I mean, Julianna Peña is right there as one of the hardest hitting, roughest outings you could possibly have in the division. Whether she wants to go to 25 or 35, I think she's going to be that person that everyone thinks okay, it's going to be a tough fight. Even if I put it to her, it's still going to be a very extremely tough fight. I think it's, I think she stays at 135, especially if the GOAT leaves. But either way, I think that's kind of the best situation for her career right there, is to have that status of that girl, that one that's doing it. What do you think?
I think now she can be a perennial gatekeeper for sure, man, because we know as long as Amanda Nunes is the champion of that division, Julianna Peña is not going to be able to get her hands back on that. I think Nunes really did prove a point, man. She said, I can go all 5 rounds with you. I can beat you at your own game. I'll take you down multiple times. I'll out-wrestle you. She said she had better jiu-jitsu, man, but like we were saying off air, man, I was screaming at the TV like, get out of her guard. Stop, man, because Peña's throwing up triangles. Peña's throwing up arm bars. There was a couple times where she had that like half-assed omoplata attempts right there. And it was just crazy to me because it felt like Nunes realized the danger and still didn't do anything to really alleviate herself, or she felt safe enough to be able to just kind of continue in the guard of a Julianna Peña, which if that's the case, that's even more impressive. But I guess the big takeaway I think from this rivalry here is that Julianna Peña has proven once again, because Amanda Nunes was dominant for so long, that she is human and she has holes and she is beatable. And I think the way to beat Amanda Nunes that we've seen for Julianna Peña, because we started to see it come that round 3, 4, 5 in those championship rounds, if Nunes wasn't grappling, I think if she would have kept it on the feet, we could have seen another upset. And the reason why is because Peña, with the nonstop pace that she was putting on Nunes dropped her how many times? Literally, eyes rolled back over her head, came back like a cyborg, man, like a zombie, just kept stomping forward. I think that's the thing that kind of not deliberates. I don't know the correct word, but for Amanda Nunes, I don't think she likes that, man. When she's getting put on the back foot, she's like, why are you not going away? Like I said, you bully the bully, you get some good results oftentimes. So are we going to start seeing more fighters take this approach, or is Julianna Peña this special specimen that can specifically do that? Because look at Amanda Nunes, beat up Cyborg bad. When she hit Megan Anderson, it's almost like she just saw a ghost and was like, oh my God, I don't even want to be here anymore, right? And we're talking about 45ers. This is a 35er, former 25er. So talk to me, brother. What do you think?
It's an interesting thing because I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. You can stand in there toe to toe. Nothing worse than giving somebody your best shot, your full power. You're unloading the hips, turning, everything's correct. You crack them a solid one, and they're just standing there looking at you. It's a very frustrating thing for a fighter, especially a striker that knows they have power, that, like you said, has beat the Kat Zingannus, the Cyborgs, the Ronda Rouseys, the Holly Holmes, all these people. And to stand there and somebody just take your best crack, it's a little mentally draining. But now, like on the other side of the coin, how do you train for that? Like how do you have a girl to go in there, just an indomitable spirit, indomitable will, iron chin, eating whatever comes her way? Even if she gets dropped, she still stays mentally, cognitively focused and is able to work her game after that, whether it's on the ground or whether it's, rolling around, whatever the case may be. I just don't see a way to actually train that. Besides, you got to have that dog in you. And I think that's what Julianna Peña had, is just an absolute dog mentality. Do you see a way to train it? Because I think, on paper, it sounds great. You bully the bully, beat her up, take the big shots, come back with your own. And on the feet, if you can avoid that big lead right hand that kept catching Peña, you're under, you're blocking, and you kind of stop it. You get caught a couple times with it, let Amanda Nunes kind of feel safe, but then start blocking it, start dipping under, start ripping to the body. It sounds great on paper. I just think in execution, very, very difficult.
You're right. Not everybody has an iron chin like Julianna Peña, who could just take those shots time and time and time again, man. There's something about her. She just has this will to win. And even though she didn't win, she didn't quit. And that's the biggest takeaway. Like I said, it's the Rocky story, man. You know, literally the Rocky story. But I'll say this, man. You're right. Easier said than done. But let's look at some numbers to kind of understand how this fight really took place, man. Even though this was 50-45, 50-44, 50-43, right? Julianna Peña did technically outstrike Amanda Nunes and outthrew Amanda Nunes, right? In terms of significant strikes, no. But she did, you know, she was busy, right? She did get taken down 6 times, which is pretty incredible. No takedown attempts of her own, which is kind of interesting right there, right? Because you would think that would be a major path to victory. This is the big key right here. Almost 12 minutes of control time for Amanda Nunes. That was it right there. But I did feel like, AJ, I did honestly feel that Nunes needed to hold on for dear life at a few of those points because Julianna Peña, like you said, nonstop submission attempts all day long. And even though they only credit her with the 1 submission attempt, you know, bro, she was throwing up a million different submission attempts. Like, let's be honest here. We'll be watching the same thing, right? So, listen, Amanda Nunes, she cashed in on that plus 325 decision prop, man. She cashed in, and I mean, it's kind of a beautiful thing. But if we take a look at her methodology, man, this is what? She has 13 knockouts, 4 submissions, right? So that's 17. So the 5th decision of her career, man. And this is what? 3rd decision victory in a title bout in her last 5 fights. Which is like, it goes to show, man, that Nunes doesn't need to live or die by the KO, man. She can get the job done when it comes down to simply just outpointing you, being a champion, doing what champions do. Miley, I guess my final question to you here, in regard to this main event, to this bout, do we ever see these two match up in the octagon again? You know what I mean? Like, does Julianna Peña somehow, some way make her way where she's like, I'll challenge you at 145. There's nobody in that division. She was talking all that mess just at the press conference. Does she challenge her at 145? Does, you know what I mean? She somehow work her way up and be like the Max Holloway of the bantamweight division, where she's like, I'm just not going to go away. I mean, what do you think?
I think we are going to see her again, man. I think we are going to see the title challenge again. I mean, you almost need to because of the rubber match, but at the same point, you don't really want to put her in there again. You don't want to stall up the division. You don't want to hold everything up. But to that point, who else is there? You know, who else is going to be the one clamoring for that position? If Julianna Peña, I don't see her going up to 45. But hey, crazier things have happened. So I do think we're going to see these two fight, but at this exact moment, I don't really see it in the near future, if you will. Like, we're not clamoring for Peña Nunes 3 at the moment, but I think with a couple wins, we have that Max Holloway status that Peña is just dropping people left and right. She becomes undeniable, and the GOAT doesn't leave. Then there's a lot of ifs right there. But if all those do line up, man, I do think we see Peña Nunes 3.
Absolutely, man, and I think this is kind of the I don't know, man. I could be out of line here, and I don't want to say anything crazy. It's not like crazy, don't get me wrong. Is Julianna Peña Amanda Nunes's Matt Serra? You know what I mean? Like, is she the Matt Serra for Amanda Nunes that served for GSP? Because, listen, like, Peña, she's the one and done for the champ. And we always talk about you never want to be the one and done champ. She had her time. Nunes restored order to the world. But is she the Matt Serra for Amanda Nunes?
It's really lining up like that, isn't it? You know, it really is, man. I mean, not the worst to be compared to the H-bomb, but still, yeah, I can see the correlation for sure.
Yeah, definitely not Dan Henderson, but Matt Serra, not the H-bomb.
Oh, Matt Serra, excuse me, yep.
But no, it's okay, brother. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, I think it's lining up to be that way. And Matt Serra has his place in history. Literally, he has his place in history. So, I mean, huge win by Amanda Nunes, but she showed that she is the lioness, man. She truly did back up her word. She says, I didn't get her on the first time, but I'm just going to be a little more strategic, and I'm going to fuck her up the second time, and she did. So that's a big win there. But arguably one of the biggest wins on the night right here, man, was Assassin baby, Brandon Moreno with the TKO victory over Kai Kara-France in a round, man, the 3rd round, where Kai Kara-France was swinging that momentum, and it was looking like he was getting ready to take over. But I have to bring up an argument right here, man. Doug Crosby, you know that judge, right? Doug Crosby. This dude literally gave Kai Kara-France, if I'm not mistaken, he gave Kai Kara-France rounds 1 and 2 on the scorecards. So I was like, had this fight, and Brandon Moreno had that after that elbow, he had that huge welt under his eye that was bleeding. I was like, had this gone 5 rounds, could Kai Kara-France have ended the night as the interim flyweight champion of the world? Because Brandon Moreno, man, switched up his style with James Krause, right? No more of this anymore, right? Now we're a little more narrow. Now we're a little more Muay Thai stance, a little taller, right? And it worked out, man. Kai France was not able to land those leg kicks that we were talking about that were going to be so effective, such an important part of a strategy to kind of do what Figgy did to him, right? He wasn't able to land the leg kicks. Moreno was more accurate. He was a little speedier, all that. But once Kai France caught his rhythm, like I said, man, things started to go uphill. It was an uphill battle for Moreno. So we saw the heart on display again. We saw the indomitable will of a Brandon Moreno not willing to quit on himself. And we also saw what happens when you set something up throughout the duration of a fight. He threw that body kick the whole entire fight. Finally, in a scramble, it lands, and it was debilitating, bro. When debilitating, excuse me. It was debilitating because Kai France, as soon as he landed it, it was similar to my sleeper, the one that I hit on that we'll talk about in a second, Drew Dober, Rafael Alves, where he hit him with that liver shot, and he you just wilt. Kai France was not willing to give up on himself, but to be just shut off with the liver shot like that, this is the win that Brandon Moreno needed to solidify Figgy versus Moreno number 4. There was no close decision. I don't know. Maybe no, you finished him. You shut him off. That was it. Nothing but respect. Give me your takeaway on this fight, AJ.
Man, it was such a powerful body shot right to that liver. I thought he kicked him in the nuts. I literally saw him go down. I was like, oh, nut shot. But then you see Kai France not grabbing anywhere down low, man. He's actually hurting, leaning over, like you said, folded basically over for the liver shot, man. And I kind of had it with Doug Crosby. I didn't have score rounds 1 and 2. But I had Kai France winning the fight at that exact moment. He was unloading, man. The combos were coming. The momentum was with Kai France. Everything was working good. He was making reads. He got Brandon Moreno to the point where Brandon Moreno really started wanting to get a couple back. So he was loading up on his shots, turning, making big movements. And Kai France was sitting there playing chess, man, seeing the things happening, dodging them until he just didn't get out of the way just enough. I think he thought he was safe. That's like you said, one elbow, 1 inch or the other way, man, he would have been totally fine. But I think he thought he was just out of range. He was fine. Next thing you know, that toe catches you right on the liver. And man, if you've ever been hit with a liver body shot, whether it's a foot or a punch, it's a button just like the temple or just like the chin that puts you out, man. And it's really, like Derek said, very debilitating. It hurts. It's a whole nother level. And the worst part about it is you're mentally there. You're mentally awake. You're mentally good. You're everything's there. Your just body says, nah, brother, you got to lay on the ground real quick for like 5 minutes. And it's a rough one, especially, like I said, for Kai France, who was winning the fight until he wasn't.
And it's tough, man, because I don't know. Maybe I need to just watch it back. Maybe I need to be a little more objective. But I had Moreno up 2-0 going into round 3. Clear third round for Kai France. Like, he was taking over. But like I said, I mean, even give it 1-1 maybe. But I really thought Moreno took the first 2 rounds. You know what I mean? But I'm glad that it didn't go to the judges, so we didn't have crazy officiating, because the judges' cards were different. Every single one of the judges' cards were completely different. One of them had, I think it was Sal D'Amato, had it 2-0 for Moreno. Doug Crosby 2-0 for Kai France, and then the third judge had it 1-1. So that's why it's just like everybody was going to be different. What does it mean to you that this fight right here, one fight of the night, and Amanda Nunes, Julianna Peña didn't even get a performance bonus, nothing, no bonuses at all? Like, this was a good fight. This was a good scrap. But was this fight of the night?
I don't think so, man. There's a couple other ones we're going to be talking about soon that I think had a little bit more, back and forth, a little bit more what I would consider a fight of the night. As much as I think it was a performance of the night on Moreno's part and a very well fought fight on Kai France, I don't really know about fight of the night. What do you think?
Well, I think that Alves versus Dober could have been more of a fight of the night than this. But I agree. Yeah, this should have got still a bonus, $50K for the performance or whatever. But Kai France, man, you can't leave in too bad of spirits because, you got half your check, but then you got another $50K on top of it. So it's like, all right, boom, there you go. We're settled in. Let me ask you this, man. Brandon Moreno, this was the dog that we knew he was, and we've been calling for it the whole time. We're like, yeah, you like Kai France. You're building up a great story. Once again, the UFC builds beautiful narratives all the time. But we said Kai France stood toe-to-toe with Deiveson Figueiredo 3 times, right? And if you think he can't handle the power of Kai France, you got another thing coming, because this dude is a dog. So what does he do? He brings out that dog and he gets the win. Now, like I said, we set up the fourth fight, Figgy Moreno. He says, I don't care, bro. You want to fight in Brazil? Let's do it in Brazil. It does not matter to me, right? Is that going to happen? Uncle Dana said, we're trying to work on something in Brazil. Hopefully we can get something in Brazil next year. Is Uncle Dana willing to wait next year to you know what I mean, make this fight happen? I'm not sure. But let's talk about Kai Kara-France, man. Is he the guy now? Is he the guy that I feel like you're going to see him challenging for a title shot again in the near future, man. I think that this loss, even though this was like a rough loss, is going to propel him to absolutely new heights right here. What do you think?
I know, I agree 100% with you. If whenever the stuff gets settled between Moreno and Figgy, after that, I think Kara-France deserves that shot. And I think we're even going to see, who is it? Not Pantoja, maybe even Pantoja fight, because there's a lot of stuff going on between those like top four, Askarov, Pantoja, Kara-France, that whole little mix-up that's right there. I think we're going to be seeing Kara-France for quite a long time, challenging for these big positions and really getting a little bit more of the respect he deserves, because I do think he's an excellent fighter. But I'm curious about the whole waiting period, because you're right. Is Uncle Dana going to want to wait that long for Figgy Moreno 4? And then what happens with the rest of the division? How's all that going to shake up? It's a very interesting brain puzzle that everyone's going to have to figure out.
Absolutely. So we'll see a lot more of Kai Kara-France, but Moreno did say, he's like, listen, man, let me just let this cut heal. Let's fight in December. Let's get it, So hopefully they oblige. But listen, and this is the new interim champion right here. We will settle who is going to be the undisputed champion here soon in the flyweight division. And it's just crazy because you never see it. Uncle Dana said this is one of the special times where you see a fourth fight. Like, you should never really see a fourth fight between fighters, but this is one of them right here. All right, AJ, let's talk about some controversy right here. Sergei Pavlovich knocks out Derrick Lewis in 60 seconds, and Derrick Lewis got up, looked at Dan Miragliotta, and said, what's going on? Come on, bro. You know what I mean? Everybody in the building, everyone on Twitter, Dana White himself, early stoppage. And it's so much of an early stoppage that, there's been articles written about it. Like, everybody's talking about it. Even Ali Abdelaziz was all like, I think, obviously, he's the manager for Pavlovich. So he's like, I think that it was a fair stoppage. It wasn't an early stoppage at all. However, if the UFC wants to run it back, we'll run it back. Pavlovich, he's like, I did my job. I won. Whatever. And he should be happy with his performance, because let's be honest here. Even though we picked for Derrick Lewis, even though we're biased, even though we're huge fans of the man, it didn't look good for my man. You know what I'm saying? So let's ask this question, the question that I asked you when the mics were cold. Do you think Derrick Lewis is reverting into Tyron Woodley status, where you have the bombs, you have the big power, but now you're just settling into the fight saying, fight starts, I'm just going to take steps backwards. I'm not going to initiate. I'm not going to dictate the center of the cage. I'm just going to take a step backwards. I'm going to turn into a counter striker. Because if that's the Derrick Lewis approach that he's going to start taking, you do have to give him those underdog odds, man, because he's most dangerous when he's able to sit there, take the middle of the cage, and just drop, swing, and bang with you. The same thing that he said he was going to do to Pavlovich. So I think that he wins in the intimidation in the pre-fight, but as soon as the fight goes on, Pavlovich was not fazed, not one bit. What do you think?
Not phased at all, man. And Pavlovich absolutely brought the fight to the Black Beast. Early stoppage, I think so. I mean, in live time, when I saw Derrick Lewis's face hit the mat, I thought I was like, oh, good call. Always, the heavyweights are in there cracking on people. I say good call, but then we watched it back, and then the slow-mo happens. Derrick Lewis pops up instantly and is like, bro, what are you doing? It was a rough one for Derrick Lewis, but as far as the Tyron Woodley comments, you hit the nail on the head, Derrick. If you're going to be a slow starter like that, who's continuously just walking backwards, trying to lull your opponent in so you can counter strike and crack back, it's a very hard path to try to win a lot of fights like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, your timing has to be perfect. Your precision has to be on point. And it's hard to do that when you have a 260-pound dude just coming in there swinging meat hammers at you. It's an interesting one, and I do see the comparison to Tyron Woodley, and we all saw how it worked out for T. Wood. Not the best.
Yeah, I think that the problem Derrick Lewis is having right now is he's just having a tough time dealing with the speedier heavyweights, those hybrid heavyweights, right? And Pavlovich is very much that. He's like that speedy dude who has the big right hand behind him. But Pavlovich didn't even, this wasn't even a technical performance. This isn't what I thought I would see from Pavlovich, what you normally see at the stand. Feint, good jab, big right hand down the pipe. This was, I'm going to walk forward and I'm just going to brawl with you and I'm going to win the brawl. And he won it in 60 seconds and that was it. But look at the face that Derrick Lewis gives to Dan Miragliotta right here, bro. That's it. That's him kind of pleading his case right there, being like, bro, really? And Dan, you can even see the look, like Dan had a little bit of that stink face after the case, just being like, fuck, man, like I fucked up. I'm about to get death threats when I go home. God damn it. Because this is Texas, bro. This is Dallas. Yes, it's not Houston, but this is Texas. So you're still in home territory for Derrick Lewis. You're getting booed out the building. Dana White says Dan Murgliata is a great ref, all that good stuff. But there's not much to talk about here, man. Sergei Pavlovich got the win. He got the TKO. We knew someone was getting knocked out here. I hit on the under 1.5. I think that was common sense right there. But here's the big thing. If this rematch does happen, I mean, what are the odds going to be for Pavlovich now? Minus fucking 400. You know what I mean? It's going to be major because, like, Derrick Lewis, 37 years old. I'm not saying he's losing a step or anything because Dana White even said this doesn't diminish Derrick Lewis at all. But like we said, man, you got to start getting back into the driver's seat of your career if you really want to have some success going, man. This is not a good look. What do you think?
And I was excited because Derrick Lewis, he's getting a new camp. He seemed invigorated. He was having fun in all the pre-fight stuff, and then just comes back and has this kind of performance, man. I truly believe Derrick Lewis just doesn't fight in Texas ever again. Yeah, that's the key right there, or something, because there's some sort of mystique that he's just caught up in. It's rough to see because you're right. It doesn't really do much against Derrick Lewis. Mm-hmm. It's more of a big win for Pavlovich. Still rough to see, though.
I think that I don't remember who said it, but they're saying that fighting in your home territory is never actually a good thing. If anything, it's just more pressure on you. So it could be he's just too much in the mental. But I agree. Having this invigorated camp, you switched up your camp, you're motivated, and you keep losing, that makes you even more of a. It's just a bad look. So big win by Sergei Pavlovich. Early stoppage for sure. I don't know if you saw when you were talking, man. I popped up the article real fast of Dana White, and his quote literally says, definitely an early stoppage, but sort of understands, more or less. You know what I mean? I think it's an early stoppage. Let's see a rematch. But big win by Pavlovich in the meantime. That will definitely get him in that one more fight, and you're fighting for a title, which is like crazy because I still don't think Pavlovich is the guy, personally. You know what I mean? But let's see it. All right, AJ. This is like... I think obviously. So last show on the post show, AJ, what did we do? Let me get back in focus. Sorry about that. What did we do last show on the post show? We put to bed. We RIP'd the Fighter of the Night segment. All right, we said it was a little redundant, you know what I mean? We'll do Prelim Pourover instead. If we were doing a Fighter of the Night, this would be my Fighter of the Night. Alexandre Pantoja walks through the punches of Alex Perez, says, I don't care about any of the shots that you have coming for me. I'm going to take your back, I'm going to put a backpack on you, and I'm not even going to have the decency to get under the neck and choke you. I'm going to just smash your face. I'm going to be dirty. And it's not dirty, but I will tell you, it's not fun when dudes go across your face, feel like they're breaking your nose. They're going across your eyeballs. Bro, this blade that you have here, oh my God, it hurts so bad. And for him, you saw he put everything into it. He pulled back, and it felt like he was about to take Alex Perez's head off of his shoulders, bro, like legitimately. He walked through him. That's the definition of a buzzsaw victory via submission for Alexandre Pantoja. And AJ, what does he do after he wins? He says, I'm the champ. I have wins over Moreno. I have wins over Kai France. I'll beat both of them in 2 weeks back to back. I don't care. I'm the champ. I'll fight whoever I need to do to get to the championship. He literally made the promo that like everybody wants to see, but I still feel like he got overlooked. Like everyone still is just like, yeah, whatever. Moreno's next. Okay, yeah, whoo. Like I just felt like he did everything that you needed to do. He's the dude who you want to have the belt. He's the ticket seller right there. But I mean, I don't know. You tell me. Can you have a more dominant victory? Can you have a better post-show Michael Chandler-esque speech? I mean, talk to me.
I know that is plain and simple. You can't, man. Walk through a minute 31. You don't, like you said, you don't even get under the neck. You don't even get under the chin, excuse me. You're just cranking some dude's head basically off his shoulders where he taps out because it's just too much pain. And then you go and you say, I can beat both these. I have beat both these dudes. I can beat both these dudes again. I'm the real champ. I'm here to stay. Blah, like all this stuff. He hit the nail on the head. And it's still overlooked, man. Still doesn't get the respect that Pantoja deserves. I honestly don't know what he's going to really need to do besides at the point once he does really beat everybody, and then everyone's going to go like, oh, man, this guy really is the guy. But he's been talking about it for years. Pantoja, man, he is a killer out there and just unheralded, man. Doesn't get anywhere near the respect he deserves, and probably, like I said, going to be overlooked in one of the next fights that's coming up. And it's hard because I would like to see Pantoja versus like a Car France or however the shakeup happens. But he's beat them all. He's beat them already. Like it's wild to see. And this was a crazy fight too, man. Just something to like you said, a buzzsaw to walk through somebody like that. Very hard to do, especially with how good Perez actually is. And then you come in, you have the promo. Crazy to see that he's not getting the respect, man.
The word on the street is that Pantoja just doesn't kiss enough ass. Like, if he kissed more ass and maybe was a little nicer to Uncle Dana, then he'd get the fights. But he's literally living the heel life, man. He's doing all the things. He's doing like the better Figgy impression than Figgy even is doing himself. And like I said, he's just not getting recognized for it. So when the UFC finally sees that they have a star on their hands, man, I mean, I don't know. But you even saw him at the press conference. He got the black leather jacket on. He just doesn't give a fuck, you know? Like, it's just hilarious, man, because I do think Alexandre Pantoja could play like that perennial, just like bad guy in a movie, like the villain. You know what I mean? Like, but in a good way. Like, this dude's a beast, man. He's a beast. This was not a fight. This was an assault. This was literally a battery case right here. You know, he walked through him, buzzsawed him, smashed his face, and walked away. Claimed that he was the daddy now, and just walked out the building. So shout out to Alexandre Pantoja, man. I need to see the man fight for a title here very, very soon. We've been singing the man's praises for a long, long time now, and maybe he'll get recognized soon. But big win. And, I mean, listen, man, let's be honest. For this fight right here, also kind of marred in injury-ish, right? Magomed Ankalaev, he buzzsaws through Anthony Smith in a different way. Just a little bit of a different way, man. And I think that the big takeaway from here is that, I mean, this dude's tight. And everything that you say in the press conference doesn't mean that it's going to translate to the actual fight. Because Anthony Smith, all he was saying the whole entire time, and all respect to him, man. You got to love Anthony Smith. You love Lionheart. But what he was saying the whole entire thing, Magomed Ankalaev isn't the second coming of Jesus. I don't know why everyone thinks that this man is so scary. He doesn't do anything particularly fantastic. He's a very, very good and skilled fighter, yes, but the man's never been in a fight, and I'm going to bring the fight to him. And then what happened, AJ? The fight comes around, and Smith doesn't really bring the fight to him, and he has his back against the cage, and it just felt like Magomed Ankalaev was in the driver's seat for 100% of the fight. Then you're throwing these kicks. Ankalaev's checking all the kicks. The problem is, Anthony Smith said he broke his leg. I'm not sure if that's true. Now, we haven't seen the scans come out or anything, but let's just say, we give him the benefit of the doubt. He did break his leg. Okay, that's why you shell up. That's why you didn't throw any submission attempts. But if he didn't, AJ, how bad does this look on Anthony Smith if there was no true fracture or anything like that?
Yeah, it looks pretty rough, right? Yeah. And I think why Magomed came out the way he did, he felt a little bit of a way, man. He said, "Yo, I'm not the guy. I'm not, I'm basically is what you're saying. Like, I'm very one-dimensional. I don't do anything special, blah, blah, all the stuff Anthony Smith was saying." I think that's why we saw the performance that Magomed did, because he came out with kind of a fire. And if there's no break from Smith, or there's not even a hairline fracture, there's nothing, it's a bad look, man. It's a real bad look, because it just felt like Smith wasn't on his game. He wasn't controlling anything. I mean, you can go look at the time, man. 51 seconds of control for Anthony Smith really isn't what we were looking to see. Like we were expecting Smith to come out and have a normal performance of Anthony Smith, who's hard to put away, who's hard to get one up on. Magomed Ankalaev comes in and looks basically not unreprehensible, or whatever the word is I'm looking for. He doesn't look like he's untouchable. But he did look like he was having one of the better performances that Magomed Ankalaev has had in a couple fights.
Absolutely, man. And he actually joined some rare air. If you look at the people who have finished Anthony Smith in the last 10 years, bro. I'm not even joking. Literally the last 10 years. You have a man named Adlan Amagov. That was in 2011. You have Thiago Santos in 2018. And then you have Glover Teixeira in 2020, man. He joins rare air. Like, people don't just finish Anthony Smith. Like, when he was getting finished, that was early on in his career. So to do that's what I'm saying. There had to have been some type of injury for him to just shell up and not even try to fight back. Because when he turned his back to Smith and just like, all right, I'm done. So Ankalaev, he asked the question that honestly, should he have been asking? Yes, maybe, but Pantoja deserved to ask this question more. What do I have to do? Who do I have to beat to get a title shot, man? You know what I mean? And Dana White was like, hold on, pump your brakes, buddy. You're number 4, you beat number 5, you're almost there. Like, pump the brakes. I've been saying for a long time, AJ. And I just want to give myself some credit here. I feel like I was the first to say this. I said, Ankalaev is the dark horse. This man will be a future champion. Finally, he's proven himself time and time again. The question here is, who does he need to fight to get a title shot? I mean, let's say Yuri Prochazka rematches Glover Teixeira, which would be a very, rightfully deserved rematch, right? Who does he have to beat? You know what I mean? Because next week, we're going to have Jamal Hill versus Thiago Santos, right? So that's behind Ankalaev. So it's like, does he just kind of wait it out? What do you do here?
Yeah, I mean, after this Anthony Smith fight, who else is there really to beat? Because like you said, he's taken down Santos. Maybe we see a Rakic, maybe we see something like that. But I do think the Yuri versus the Glover, that's the one that kind of feels like you need to have it happen. You need the Glover Yuri fight, the rematch. But then after that, who? Because I honestly think Ankalaev can beat Rakic. I think he can beat a lot of these people up there. I don't have the standings pulled up. Maybe you can pull them up so we can both check it out.
Check it out.
But
Yuri Prochazka champion. Number 1, Glover Teixeira. Number 2, Jan Blachowicz. Number 3, Rakic. Number 4, Ankalaev. Who is left? Anthony Smith is right behind him. You just buzzsawed him. Like, who's left? Nobody.
Yeah, nobody. I mean, who was the other one? The Polish Power. Have they fought yet?
Blachowicz and Ankalaev? No, they haven't fought. That could be a good fight for sure. That could definitely be a good fight.
Blachowicz, Ankalaev. I mean, it's what else? What else do you have besides Rakic? And I think, like I said, Magomed gets Rakic as well.
Yeah, and Rakic, clearly, he's out right now, for injury. And I don't know if you heard about that situation where Rakic and Jimmy Manuwa slapped Rakic and all that. So I'm like, man, now there's additional heat. And I mean, Jimmy Manuwa ain't even in the UFC anymore. So I mean, I don't know. But listen, man, this was a huge win for Ankalaev. We have to await the results of whatever the injury diagnosis is going to be for Anthony Smith, because you got to feel for him too. You know what I mean? Listen, man, there's intangibles. And I don't want to speak on this because it's not my place to speak on it. But we talk about it all the time. They use this as the narrative, right? Oh, his mother just passed away, da-da-da-da-da. So you just got your ass whooped. You got an injury in your leg. And now you have to process that information. So listen, man, speedy recovery to Anthony Smith. Wish him nothing but the best. But Magomed Ankalaev is now he's the guy. He's the guy. He needs one more win, and he's fighting for a title. The question is, does he have the chops to be able to defeat a Yuri Prochazka? Is he explosive enough to defeat a Yuri Prochazka? That's yet to be seen. And I don't know if we can even give a take right now. But if you had to give a very quick, hot take, does he have the chops?
Man, I think Yuri gets him, and maybe it's because I've been praising Yuri for a long time as well, since really, like, I think first or second fight in the UFC. Man, a good fight though. That's you want to talk about the new breed of MMA fighters, the new breed that's going to be here a while. We see an Ankalaev versus Prochazka. I think we're going to see that one 3 times. We're going to see a rubber match coming that way, because these dudes, they're going to be here for quite a while.
Absolutely. So let's look forward to that. But in the meantime, that was your main card. I hope it was worth it, folks. I don't know if that was an $80 card, in terms of like truly worth that monetary value, but it was a card. It was exciting. That was basically the majority of the finishes happened on the main card as opposed to the prelims, but that is what it is. So let's move into a little prelim action, AJ. And let's talk about a couple of these fights, man. First and foremost, man, Drew Dober, Rafael Alves. We have to talk about that. Drew Dober, put on a performance against Rafael Alves, man. We said this man is dangerous in terms of his ability to be able to just like use his athleticism. But if you look at the total strikes, Dober outstruck him. He did get taken down, right? Alves had the control time, but when he touched him in that liver, he folded, he wilted. I thought a truly standout moment in this fight, though, and I don't have a picture or anything, and I wish I did, AJ, was that Drew Dober kicks Alves in the nuts, right? Alves is over there. He's like complaining a little bit. He's like, reacting, doing all that stuff. Then the doc is over there trying to like check on him. Or no, it was actually, I take it back. It was after a nut shot. I think it was an eye poke. Right, pokes him in the eye, literally pinky in the eye, like it was a rough one. And then the doc is like checking on him, and then Alves literally pushes the doc away. He's like, get the fuck out of here, bro. What's up? Let's fight. You know what I mean? And it was just funny because everyone's like, oh damn, he's pushing away the doc, and then he brings the doc back, and then he hugs him, and then he pushes him away again. He's like, no, get out of here. I'm trying to fight. You have to love that, right? That's like true. Like I'm a fighter, man. I want to fight. We don't need to do any of this nonsense. If you even think that I'm going to hint at quitting, get the fuck out of here because you just disrespected me. So let me ask you this, man. Big win by Drew Dober, 2 knockouts in a row, right? The last one was a huge one over Terrence McKinney. Now you get another one over Rafael Alves. My man is back in good form, right? We should be expecting big things from Drew Dober in the lightweight division. Am I right?
Oh yeah, man. Drew Dober's looking like one of the men up there. Going to be pushing up. I don't know exactly where he's ranked right now, but man, Drew Dober's on a tear again, man. 25-11, looking good. And again, like you said, 2 KOs in his last fights. Very impressed for Dober. And what I like seeing is now he's not the one-dimensional wrestler that everybody thought he was going forward. He's no longer just the guy who's going to have all the control time, going to shoot for the double leg and then just blast you down, wrestle you for 15 minutes. Drew Dober's going to put a hole in your face. This dude's here to play, man, and it's going to be big things going for Drew Dober. The question is, though, how highly does he actually get up in the rankings? Like where does this talent that he's starting to get now, multi-talented, multi-versed, in the 155-pound division, in the most stacked division we have. Where does he really, kind of fall in with the rest of the shuffle? Interesting to see, man.
Yeah, I don't even really want to throw a number out there because I don't want to disrespect, but I do think that it would be fair to say, I think at best, maybe we can get we can get to number 8. I think that's the cap. I don't want to be disrespectful here, but that's great. In the lightweight division, that talented-ass division, to be that top 8, I mean, come on, bro. So, I mean, listen, huge things coming up from him, but let's talk about another standout dude. This was in a UFC debut, too, man. Hamdy Abdelwahab, and I didn't give this man much respect coming into this bout against Don'Tale Mayes. I'm like, you got an Egyptian wrestler, Olympic wrestler, that's cool, but Don'Tale Mayes, man, he's kind of seen it all. He's seen a lot thus far in his UFC career, and Hamdy Abdelwahab, man, it wasn't the wrestling that was put on display, it was the boxing, man. He outstruck Don'Tale Mayes 106-54, took him down 3 times, 6 minutes of control time. He put on a performance, a clinic, and he suffered some damage and weathered the storm and still came back, man. This is honestly like one of my favorite performances on the night. It was really, really impressive. Hamdy Abdelwahab, I gave you no respect. I have to eat my words. I mean, you looking like the real deal right here. But then again, this was against Don'Tale Mayes, who, let's just say, had a very poor game plan in that third round, which was like a must win, right? It was 1-1 going into round 3. So it's like whoever wins this round wins the fight, and then he gets taken down in like 10 seconds. And I was like, oh God, like you gotta know that's coming, right? What did you think, bro? What did you think of Abdelwahab's performance?
Man, I also have to give credit where credit's due, man. I was leading into the stories that were being told on the internet that this dude's more or less of a fake fighter, and Abdelwahab came in and proved everybody wrong, man. Shut everybody up. So I got to give the respect to the man that deserves it, man. Abdelwahab, insane. Like crazy to see that somebody with a 6-0 record who's fighting somebody like Don'Tale Mayes, who has seen it all. You're very correct. Has seen it all. Has done it all. And in there with a lot of really good fighters, Abdelwahab came back and said, I know how to win these fights. Like this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna put the right spots or the right shots in the right order. Very, very seasoned for a fighter who was before this, man. A lot of people saying wasn't seasoned, has never even been crisped up in the pan yet. Like no salt, no nothing. So now, very impressive, man. I got to give the credit where the credit's due. I got to eat a little bit of crow right here. Abdelwahab is the real deal. I'm excited to see where he goes next because now that we know he's a big wrestler, he's going to be shooting to take you down. How does that fare in the heavyweight division that has all these very fast hybrid fighters? I don't really know how well he stacks up in the top, the upper echelon, but it's going to be interesting to see how this dude climbs the ranks.
Some people were saying that we got the Egyptian Daniel Cormier on our hands right here, bro. So, I mean, you never know. You never know. But I will say, Don'Tale Mayes, 6'6", Abdelwahab, 6'2". I mean, that's also a huge differentiation in terms of, like, stature right there. So, big win by Abdelwahab. Talk about a couple other ones, man. Your sleeper, Michael Morales versus Adam Fugit. That lived up to the hype, man. I mean, Fugit was game, and I think that Morales was getting a little frustrated at times, man. Morales was like, how is this dude still sticking around? If you look at the numbers, Morales, who moves to 14-0, he had 2 knockdowns in the fight, outlanded Fugit by about 20 strikes in both significant and total, right? And if you look at the takedowns, Fugit did land the takedown, man. He had Morales. Morales looked like he was trying. The thing about Morales that's impressive, man, is he's so composed. He's so relaxed, right? Everything he does is just like, it's like he almost knows that he's going to win. But when he suffered that little bit of adversity, like I said, man, I didn't know if it was on one hand, he was such a big favorite. Everybody was expecting him to win. So Fugit sticking around was like a bad look. And he was like, oh shit, I got to get this man out of here. Or on the other hand, is Fugit literally just like saying, I'm UFC caliber. I'm ready to go. What did you take away from that matchup?
Man, I took it away as UFC caliber. And don't get me wrong, Morales did look frustrated in there. He did look like he was having a hard time figuring the spots out. He was in there like playing chess, doing what he was supposed to. It just like Fugit was also very, very game. Saw the same things that Morales was seeing. They were both in there, man. It was a very close. I can't remember if it was the first or the second round where I was like, damn, Fugit might get this one. Like I was a little shook, man. I was happy to see that the sleeper did come through, and then actually we ended up seeing a KO, seeing a finish here, and it didn't go to decision. But I took it away as Fugit is game. Fugit is a fighter, gonna be here for a while. Good to see Morales is winning because that's who I was betting on, but still a very entertaining fight nonetheless.
Absolutely. I'd agree with you, man. And we got to see more Morales. I'm telling you, this dude's a stud. He's the next big thing right there. But Fugit, I mean, he won some fans over. I'll just say that much. Another fun matchup right here, man. Negumeranu versus Ihor Potieria. I was butchering his name, but they said it. It's just weird. It's got some I's and E's in places you're not accustomed to. But listen, man, Ihor was actually like made me a little concerned for a minute because I was like, oh, this dude on the feet, because you know Negumeranu, he got to get to the wrestling, right? Great wrestler. But I was like, on the feet, man, this dude is giving him some issues. Until AJ, this was one of the nastiest, more destructive finishes that I've seen in quite some time because Potieria got his mouthpiece knocked out and then proceeded to eat like 5 flush knees to the dome. No mouth guard. And you remember, there's been 2 times where I've seen people's lips split straight open. Robbie Lawler, and I don't remember who he was fighting. Was it Rory McDonald maybe? But yeah, Robbie Lawler. And then Alistair Overeem when he got smacked up by Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Those are the 2 dudes where their lip were busted straight open. Like, you're like, that's disgusting. You need to see the plastic surgeon. That happened to Potieria. That happened to him due to flush knees by Nikolai Negumeranu. So my question here, AJ, is that, like, how good is this dude Negumeranu, bro? Because I think that he was actually the betting underdog in this fight. And if you look at his last couple performances, I thought you couldn't get more impressive than the Kennedy and Chekwu split decision. I thought you couldn't get more impressive than just like handling that man. But you beat Potieria, you beat Nchekwu, you beat Ike Villanueva, you beat Alexei Kamor, and your only loss in the UFC thus far is to Safarov, which was, I mean, you know what I mean? I think that was like his first fight in the UFC. But like, tell me what you think of this man. How good is he? 13-1 in his career.
I'm telling you, Derek, this is a reason why I almost made this my sleeper as well, because Negumeranu is a real deal, man. And Potieria, for as game as he was, it was a hell of an impressive thing to eat as many knees as he did. Negumeranu, especially because he has the wrestling, and now we see he also has the striking chops. This dude, he's going to be around for quite a while, and something, not someone to trifle with, man. Somebody who can do it in multiple different facets. Very impressive for Negumeranu, man. I'm excited to see who they match him up with next against.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And just a couple more before we move on to this ranking review, man. Jocelyn Edwards split decisions, Ji Young Kim. Unfortunate, but I do think Ji Young Kim probably gets cut from the promotion at this point, man. I thought that she'd come out with a little more fire, given the nickname Fire Fist, right? She just didn't come out with the heat, man. Jocelyn Edwards just used her length to keep her at distance. And it's important to note that the 2 fighters that missed weight are Ryan Cosey and Jocelyn Edwards. They both won their fights. So, you know, yeah, you got a little more money, but you're probably getting cut from the promotion. It's very sad to see because I do think she trains out here in Vegas. And then, yeah, Ryan Cosey over Blood Diamond, man. Rough start to the UFC tenure for the City Kickboxing camp, I guess, in total for this weekend. But Blood Diamond specifically, man, because he was doing good on the feet, man. Dude, great kickboxer, but he get taken down by Cosey, who you know that's his game plan. He literally has one goal. The goal is to take you down, suplex you, hold you down, ground and pound, submit. I was surprised that Blood Diamond was able to stick around for a decision, to be honest with you. But, you know, listen, let me ask you, do you think that a Blood Diamond can get the takedown defense right a little bit, that this dude could do some damage? Because I'm telling you, I mean, and fantastic kickboxer, just MMA, the takedown stuff, you know, you're giving them wrestlers. So what do you think?
It's hard too because he's not at the camp that's going to be teaching you the best stuff. You know, he's not at the DC Wrestling Academy. He's over at City Kickboxing, where they still, don't get me wrong, one, if not like top 3 best camps in the entire world right now. Yeah. It's just for their kickboxing camp. They're strikers. You know, they're out there banging, swinging, and banging. And it is the game now to be able to defend takedowns or get takedowns of your own. You know, as much as the strikers don't like that, that's like half, if not more than half of the game nowadays, you know? So Blood Diamond, very rough start to his tenure. I'm kind of hoping, you know, they kind of bounce around camps a little bit. We know the champ Volkanovski does that. So if Blood Diamond can get a little bit more training, a little bit more ground game preparation, I think we'll see better stuff, but very rough start for his career. You're right. Yeah,
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And lastly, I just want to mention it. We didn't even got to talk about it, but Alex Morono got a big win over Semi the Jedi, Matt Semelsberger, man. That was a hard-fought victory, 30-27 him. So, I mean, the Great White got the win on Shark Week. Come on, baby. You know what time it is. All right, AJ, let's jump into this ranking review real fast. And I think it's only fair, man, because there's a lot of ranking implications, but the fairest division to go into is probably the heavyweight division. And we need to talk about it just a little bit, bro, so let's do it. If you look at the heavyweights, Francis Ngannou, clearly champion of the division, right? Then you got Cyril Gane, Stipe Miocic, who hasn't fought in feels like a million years, Tai Tuivasa, Curtis Blade, Derrick Lewis, Tom Aspinall, Alexander Volkov, Jairzinho Rosenstruck, all that stuff. Number 5, Derrick Lewis just got his, he got the loss, got TKO'd, got steamrolled by Sergei Pavlovich at 11. So let's say Pavlovich jumps into number 5 and Derrick Lewis jumps to number 6, right? Everybody else gets a push down. Here's the question. This is my whole entire thing for you, AJ, and I could already see the apprehension on the face, right? You have the names of Cyril Gane, Stipe Miocic, Tai Tuivasa, Curtis Blades, and Sergei Pavlovich. One of these doesn't add up. One of these is not like the others. So can my man Pavlovich, all respect, man, lethal right hand, knockout power, can he compete with Gane, Miocic, Tuivasa, Blades, Aspinall, Volkov, Rosenstruck? Like, can he hang with these guys? Because we don't know that. We just know that he got a 60-second finish over Derrick Lewis, and that's that. Can he hang with these guys?
Man, I really don't think so. And you even go, like you said, the Tom Aspinalls, the Volkovs, the Jairzinho Rosenstrikes. That's kind of where I feel like we start to say no. We start to say, nah, I don't really think so. But to that point, at this stage where you see Derrick Lewis at number 5, take this 2 months ago and the statement I'm about to say where it makes Derrick Lewis not look like he belongs in the top 5. Take that 2 months ago, and that's a blasphemy, basically. Yeah. Like, everybody thinks, obviously he belongs in top 5, top 3, top 4, right in there all the time. But you're losing fights like this. Sure, yes, it was a quick stoppage. Yes, it was. But was he getting beat up the whole time before that? I think so. And so it's weird because you're right. I don't see Pavlovich really jumping up into that top 5 contenders or like that area. I just think it's a little too much for him at the moment, and obviously, I mean, we're going to see how it all unfolds later when the UFC does their rankings. But if I'm ranking him or I'm putting him near somebody, I even think he has a hard time against Romanov, Alexander Romanov, another dark horse that we're not seeing really get a lot of shine. I think he gets smashed on. So it's a weird one to Pavlovich because he deserve that position of top 5? Yes. Did he earn the position, I guess is a better way to say it? Yes. Does he deserve it in his skill set? Not really. Yeah. It's a hard one.
It's rough, man. It's rough. So that's what I'm saying. I just think that, you throw out those names, then you throw Pavlovich's name in there. Either he's this killer that we just don't know about yet or we refuse to accept, and he's going to have to prove it, or, you got the win, and now you're in this top-notch territory where, listen, Tai Tuivasa versus Sergei Pavlovich, who wins? I think Tai does some work, you know what I mean? I think Tai does some bam for sure right there, even give him to Curtis Blades, give him to Tom Aspinall, bro, you know what I mean? Let Tom Aspinall get his knee right, and then let's get that fight going. Like, I'm just saying. So that's because that's hybrid versus hybrid, but that is your 60-second rankings review. The heavyweight division definitely got some work to do. Now, AJ, man, this is just a word on the street, and I just have a couple of things for you, but there's some things that I thought were a little interesting, right? And this is one of them right here. I'm going to pull it up on the Twitter sphere. So Yair Rodriguez, he says he's going to wait to fight Alexander Volkanovski, and he has no interest in an interim title fight. He says, I'm not fighting Josh Emmett, I'm fighting Volkanovski. And it's like, okay, respect for calling that out, but Dana White, he feels a way about people who says that they want to wait. And I don't think that he's going to take this he's not going to take this very well, right? So what do you think about Yair Rodriguez saying, I refuse to fight for the interim title? Because I feel like if you do fight for the interim title, it puts you in a better spot overall, right? But it's also the risk. What if you lose and then you get this bad spot? You know what I mean? So what do you think of this?
I don't like it. As much as I like somebody taking their career into their own hands and saying, nah, I'm fighting the champ, bro. I'm fighting the champ. I don't think you say, I'm not going to fight anyone else. That's where I think he took the wrong direction. I think he should have said, I'm fighting the champ. I deserve to fight the champ. I'll smack anyone else that comes in my way because that's my rightful fight right there. But now when you say you're going to wait, the whole problem with Yair is he had it wasn't an injury. It was he
did have an injury. It was an ankle. He fractured his ankle.
Thank you. I forget if it was a USADA or if it was an ankle injury, but either way, he was out for a period of time. A lot of people start forgetting your name. They don't realize, especially when there's other heat in that division. Now you're saying you're going to take even more time off. You're going to fade even more into the shadows. It's a bad look. Especially, like you said, Uncle Dane doesn't like when people say they're going to wait. He's going to get passed up on. He's going to get, like I said, relegated to the back, to the curtains. It's a rough look for Yair, and I don't really like it, man. I think he should stay active, keep the fight going, and make your claim to the title absolutely undeniable. I think that's the route for Yair. What do you think?
Well, I think, you should have took the Pantoja approach and just been like, I'll beat anybody who I need to get to that title shot. But then again, he thinks he's earned it. So, listen, man, that's a bold stance to take. And if you take it, let's just see how Uncle Dana reacts. I think that's all we could take from here. Next up, AJ, this was interesting because this involves Triple Cringe and your boy Sugar Show O'Malley right here, man. So let's talk about it. So O'Malley theorized, he has a theory about Henry Cejudo's mindset. And he's really talking about the retirement. So he's basically saying that Henry Cejudo says that he wants to fight Volkanovski, he wants to fight Sterling, he wants to fight me. I'm sure it's frustrating being a 2-time world champion and a gold medalist and still not having fans. His insecurities, he's 5'4", considered one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all times, and still doesn't have a following. So it's not that O'Malley is saying that he's not a great fighter. He's just saying that he doesn't have a great following, which I do think is kind of a fair statement, but then you have to take this into context. And sorry, folks, I'm just got to throw the charger on the laptop one time. Boom. The context that you have to take away from here, AJ, is that Henry Cejudo had to kind of single-handedly revive the flyweight division when it was on the brink of being stripped away, taken away. This is during the domination of the Mighty Mouse era, right? So now that the flyweight seems to be one of the most cracking divisions in the UFC, I'm sure he's like, oh, I did not expect this. Like, let me jump back in there, you know what I mean? Or if not there, let me jump into bantamweight. Let me do something. Do you think that Henry Cejudo has these apprehensions, these insecurities, or do you think O'Malley is just like talking it up?
I think O'Malley hit a nerve is what I think, man. And I do agree, because as much as Henry Cejudo did save the division, he did kind of bump it back up, get a little bit of steam going, especially with the knockout over TJ Dillashaw. He had all this like steam. It was more a lot of steam to power a machine that instead of power Cejudo. A lot of people, he went full cringe because he wasn't getting any attention otherwise. So when you go full cringe, you become the heel, you become the guy that people want to hate. It is what it is. I mean, you set yourself up for it. You know, as much as he doesn't have a good following, he still has a following. People want to see him lose. People want to see, you know, these statements be said by other fighters who are like, bro, you're short, you don't have a following, you were never really that good. Like all the stuff that really does hurt a fighter, because as much as Henry Cejudo did save the division, did really kind of reinvigorate the entire, the sport into wanting to watch smaller guys go in there and scrap. I feel like he was just the fuel to the fire more than anything. Didn't really get his claim to fame, didn't really get his accolades, more so just a person that people were like, man, this guy, he's still winning. Okay, like, oh, he did. Nobody saw everybody was rooting for TJ, and then he gets the knockout. I like Sugar Show's statement. I like it. I mean, I think it's, like a nice thing? No. Do I think it's the truth? Pretty close. Yeah, pretty close.
There you go, man. Think? So, I mean, listen, I don't have a huge take on it other than, I mean, when you retire, and Dana White said it too, man. He was like, you need to be real careful about when you do these things, because if you think it's just as simple as, oh, I'm just going to come back and fight the best of the best. No, it doesn't work that way, buddy. You retired. Don't forget. You retired. You made the choice. I didn't kick you out. You retired. So, I mean, there's that. So, I just say when you choose wisely. I think that's the moral of the story right there. All right, folks, and that is your word on the street. And now we have hit the outro. Next week, AJ, we don't just have a banger of a light heavyweight matchup. We also have tough finales, man. 2 of them. We're seeing Usman's brother, seeing if he can do some work. We got Juju versus Brogan. AJ, man, listen, I love the men's reality soap operas and whatnot. The Ultimate Fighters. I don't know if you've been tuned into the Ultimate Fighter this year, but if you haven't, you got some stuff to watch to catch up on a little bit. You know what I mean? Tune into the soap opera, all that good stuff. Really skip all the nonsense, just go straight to the fight. You already know what the vibes are right now. But what do you think, man? Do you think that because Dana White Contender Series, don't forget, we're gonna have the Contender Series fights on Tuesday. Joe Pfeiffer, I don't know if you guys watched last week, he got the sole contract. He was on Contender Series 2020 against Dustin Stoltzfus, ended up getting an arm injury, lost the fight, came back, knocked out his man, got the contract. What do you think? With the Contender Series here, is tough, is it relevant? Does it even still need to be a thing? What do you think?
It's weird because, full disclosure on my side, I don't watch many actual cable TV type shows, so I feel like there is a spot for it. Obviously, the soap opera, the time, you're always tuning in this certain day, you're watching stuff, you're sitting down, you're excited for it. I do think there's a time for it, especially because, like you said, Contender Series on Tuesday, a weird day. Most you don't have, unless there's like another sporting events on Tuesday, not really much is going on. Then you have the Ultimate Fighter. I do think there's a spot for it, and I think they're spreading around the love very, very nicely, which is good to see.
Okay, right on, man. And then look at the card that we got next week, man. So, we got Vicente Luque, Jeff Neal, Santos Hill. These are the Ultimate Fighters right here. Augusto Sakai, Sergey Spivak. That should be fun. Ariane Lipski, Priscilla Cachoeira. Michael Alexachuk versus Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey is going on, 8th loss in a row. If he loses this one, That'll be rough. T-Rex, Terrence McKinney versus the Ghost Pepper, Eric Gonzalez. That's going to be a very fun fight. Brian Battle, former Tough 29 champion, fighting Takashi Sato, Jason Witt, Josh Quinlan. Don't know him. I'm going to have to look him up. Corey McKenna, Miranda Granger. That should be fun. And Myra Bueno Silva versus Stephanie Egger. Egger coming off of that armbar victory against... why am I blanking on her name, man? Tattoo, Jessica Rose Clark. There we go. All right, brother. Fun card, stacked card. We're going to have to do some research. We're going to have to get back in the driver's seat across the board. You, my man, you won the week. Even though it was a wash on the money line, you won the week. You won the intangibles. I'm going to have to get back in good form. But otherwise, man, I think it's been a great show. I think this was a great week of fights. This was the pay-per-view, 277. A lot of anticipation. You got to love it. AJ, any last words for the people?
No, man, it was actually a pretty fun fight card. Was it $80 worth? No, but it was a very entertaining thing. Seeing a lot of the finishes come in the main event, main card, you love seeing it. Gonna be a very fun one for the next week, man. Santos, there's a lot of even Ariane Lipski-Cachoeira, I think, was in there as well. There's gonna be some bangers on the next one, so tune in. And as always, if you want to see the in-depth breakdowns, check it out. It's right there, the Twitch, Derrick's Twitch over here. You know how it goes, man. Go hit us up. Make sure you follow, subscribe, share to your friends. You hear anybody, your ears perk up, you hear somebody talking about fight game, put them on their actual game, their favorite fighter's favorite fight show, Bloody Water Podcast. Make sure you share with your friends. Spread the love. We do appreciate it all.
Absolutely. And AJ said it the best. I don't even got anything else to say, but yeah, subscribe, share the show with your friends. You dig what time it is. Your favorite fighter's favorite fight. Oh, fuck. I fucked that up. Favorite fighter's favorite fight show. AC, I shouldn't even said anything. You already said it best. All right, folks, that's it for us. Until next time. Peace.